In the heart of Silicon Valley, where the relentless hum of innovation never ceased, stood the sleek, glass-walled headquarters of Quantum Dynamics, a cutting-edge tech firm specializing in artificial intelligence and data analytics. The late afternoon sun filtered through the expansive windows, casting golden streaks across the open-plan office. The air was thick with the scent of freshly brewed coffee and the faint buzz of servers cooling in the adjacent data center. Amidst the rows of ergonomic desks and glowing monitors, a peculiar scene was unfolding in the conference room, one that would soon become the talk of the entire company. Dr. Ethan Caldwell, a brilliant but unassuming AI researcher in his mid-30s, stood before a massive whiteboard that spanned the entire wall. His muscular frame, clad in a fitted gray t-shirt and dark overalls, seemed oddly out of place in the corporate setting. Black nitrile gloves encased his hands, a habit he'd picked up from his days tinkering in his garage lab, where precision and cleanliness were paramount. In one hand, he gripped a red dry erase marker, and in the other, a blue one, as he scribbled furiously, equations sprawling across the board like a chaotic symphony of numbers and symbols. His short, neatly trimmed beard framed a face etched with intense focus, his hazel eyes darting between the board and the tablet propped up beside him. White AirPods nestled in his ears, piping in a steady stream of classical music to drown out the office chatter. The whiteboard was a battlefield of mathematical warfare. Complex formulas danced across its surface, some boxed in with triumphant flourishes, others crossed out with bold, frustrated slashes. At the top left, a bold, x squared plus 2, sat like a declaration of intent, followed by a cascade of derivations, square roots, integrals, and summations that seemed to defy comprehension. Ethan's gloved hand moved with purpose, the red marker tracing a new line, x equals square root xx. He paused, stepped back, and tilted his head, muttering to himself, "No, that's not it." With the blue marker, he scrawled a correction, square root x plus xx. The equations grew denser, a labyrinth of variables and operators that only a mind like Ethan's could navigate. He was working on a new algorithm for predictive modeling, one that could revolutionize how quantum dynamics processed real-time market data. The stakes were high. Millions in venture capital hung in the balance, and the board was breathing down his neck for results. Behind him, the glass door of the conference room offered a clear view into the bustling office beyond. Colleagues in tailored blazers and designer sneakers darted between meetings, their voices a low hum of pitches and deadlines. But Ethan was in his own world, oblivious to the chaos. That is, until the door swung open with a soft hiss, and in walked Vanessa Harper, the company's sharp-tongued CFO. At 32, Vanessa was a force of nature, her blonde hair pulled back into a sleek ponytail that swayed with every confident step. Her beige blazer dress hugged her curves, the deep V-neck drawing just enough attention to make her presence impossible to ignore. Her green eyes, framed by long lashes, scanned the room with a mix of curiosity and exasperation. In her hand, she clutched a tablet displaying a cascade of stock market graphs, their jagged lines glowing in shades of blue and orange. Vanessa stopped a few feet behind Ethan, her gaze fixed on the whiteboard. Her perfectly arched brow furrowed as she tried to make sense of the mathematical carnage before her. The arrow she'd mentally drawn to the stock charts on the wall-mounted screens behind her seemed to pulse with urgency. Those charts were her domain, quantum dynamics' lifeblood, tracking the volatile ebb and flow of global markets. The latest dip in their stock price, a jagged yellow line plummeting downward, had sent the executive team into a frenzy. And here was Ethan, the genius they'd poached from MIT, scribbling what looked like algebraic hieroglyphics instead of delivering the solution she'd been promised. "Ethan," she said, her voice crisp but laced with a hint of amusement, "care to explain why you're turning our conference room into a math museum instead of fixing the algorithm that's tanking our projections?" Ethan froze, the red marker hovering midair. He pulled one AirPod out, letting it dangle against his chest, and turned to face her. A sheepish grin spread across his face, softening the intensity in his eyes. "Vanessa, I'm this close," he said, holding up his gloved fingers a fraction of an inch apart. "The predictive model's almost there. Just need to iron out a few kinks." "Kinks," Vanessa echoed, stepping closer. Her heels clicked sharply on the polished concrete floor, and she gestured toward the whiteboard with her tablet. "This looks like you're solving the meaning of life, not optimizing our data pipeline. The board's meeting in 2 hours, Ethan. They want numbers, not squiggles. Ethan chuckled, undeterred. He turned back to the board, pointing at a particularly dense cluster of equations. See this? This is the key. If I can stabilize the recursive function here. He tapped a line that read, lambda equals square root x plus 2, square root xx, we'll cut prediction latency by at least 30%. That's millions in trading revenue, Vanessa. She crossed her arms, her gaze shifting from the board to the stock charts on the screens. The yellow arrow she'd imagined now felt like a spotlight on her own pressure. 30% sounds great, but right now, our stock's down 8 points because the last model you gave us crashed during peak trading hours. I need something concrete, Ethan. Not a thesis. He glanced at the screens, his grin fading as he registered the plummeting line. Okay. Fair point, he conceded, setting the markers down on the tray. He peeled off the gloves, revealing hands calloused from years of soldering circuits and typing code. Give me an hour. I'll have a prototype ready to demo. An hour. Vanessa's tone was skeptical, but there was a spark of intrigue in her eyes. She'd seen Ethan pull off miracles before, but the clock was ticking louder than ever. You're telling me you can turn this, she waved at the whiteboard, into a working model in 60 minutes. Watch me, Ethan said, his confidence bordering on cocky. He grabbed his tablet and began tapping furiously, pulling up lines of code that mirrored the equations on the board. The conference room's dual monitors sprang to life, displaying a coding interface and a live feed of market data. Vanessa leaned against the table, her posture relaxing slightly as she watched him work. There was something mesmerizing about Ethan in his element. His focus was relentless, his fingers flying across the screen with the precision of a surgeon. As the minutes ticked by, the room filled with the soft clack of keys and the occasional ping of incoming data. Ethan muttered to himself, weaving the mathematical framework into a functional algorithm. Vanessa, meanwhile, kept one eye on the stock charts. The yellow line dipped again, and she winced. We're bleeding money, Ethan, she said, her voice softer now, almost pleading. I know, he replied without looking up. Almost there. Just need to tweak the weighting function. He copied a line from the whiteboard, integral x plus x asterisk x dx, and translated it into a Python script. The code compiled, and a new graph appeared on the second monitor, its line smoother, more predictive. Ethan's eyes lit up. There. See that? That's our new model in action. Vanessa straightened, stepping closer to the screen. The graph was projecting market trends with uncanny accuracy, its predictions aligning with real-time data in a way their old model never had. You're serious, she said, her voice tinged with awe. This is actually working. Told you, Ethan said, leaning back in his chair with a triumphant smirk. He popped the AirPod back in, but the music was off now. He didn't need it. The rush of solving the problem was enough. Run it through your stress tests. It'll hold. Vanessa tapped her tablet, initiating a simulation. The room fell silent except for the hum of the servers and the soft whir of the air conditioning. The new model processed terabytes of data in seconds, its predictions holding steady even as the market volatility spiked. The yellow line on the stock chart began to stabilize, inching upward. Vanessa's lips curved into a rare smile. Ethan Caldwell, you're a wizard. He laughed, standing to stretch his arms. Just doing my job. Now, about that board meeting. Want me to present this with you? She hesitated, then nodded. You're the one who made it work. Let's show them what quantum dynamics is capable of. As they gathered their things and headed for the door, the whiteboard loomed behind them, a testament to the chaos and genius that had just unfolded. In the glass-walled world of Silicon Valley, where brilliance and pressure collided daily, Ethan and Vanessa were about to prove that sometimes, the craziest equations led to the biggest breakthroughs. The boardroom awaited, and with it, the chance to turn a sinking stock into a soaring success.